Hello and welcome to my third album review. Today, finally going to review a prog rock one, Moving Pictures by Rush. I used to have this on vinyl. I bought it used on Amazon about 3 years ago. I bought it used on Amazon on vinyl, but I don't really like having it used. It was a wee bit scratched, and I want a proper listen to it, so I'm going to end up buying it new. Haven't got around to it. That's why I'm holding the CD version and not the vinyl version. And also, it came in this cloudy sort of, I don't know if you can see it, the box is sort of cloudy. It's kind of weird, but I kind of like it. One of the reasons I'm reviewing this before any other prog rock album is because, one, Rush are my all-time favourite prog band, and this was the first Rush album I ever listened to. Well, that wasn't a compilation album. The first Rush album I ever listened to was the Spirit of Radio compilation album. But this one is the first full album that I bought of Rush, and the first prog rock album that I listened to from start to finish. So that's why I'm reviewing this one. Released in 1981, it is Rush's 8th album and also their highest selling, and most people consider it their highest rated. And I would agree. This is my favourite Rush album. It is their best one. And to be honest, it really is one of those albums that's just good from start to finish. 7 songs, 4 on the first side and 3 on the second side, and now I'm going to talk about it. Track 1, Tom Sawyer. Rush, a lot of people say that with their 1980 album Permanent Waves, that's when they stopped being prog. I couldn't disagree with that more. I think they very much continued to be prog well into the 80s. I think their only album in the 80s that wasn't prog was probably Hold Your Fire, because Power Windows and Grace Under Pressure and Signals definitely have a lot of prog in them. Apart from Presto. Presto is more alternative, but alternative is sort of like experimental music anyway, but I think Hold Your Fire is the only one that isn't really prog, and even that has a few progressive elements, so I really don't understand that. And right from the start, Tom Sawyer, it's 4.5 minutes, but it's got as much music, it's got as much content as any 10-minute prog rock song you'll hear. It's got a keyboard solo, it's got a quite lengthy instrumental section for a 4.5 minute single, and it's got strange lyrics. It's got, well, not too strange, but it's definitely not a pop song. People refer to it as a pop song. You know, it's got half of the songs in 7/8 as well, so I really don't know where all that's coming from. I think it's a song about a strong individualist who may be an anarchist, I don't know. I think it was definitely to do with Neil Peart's feelings at the time towards authority, and the way he still feels a lot of it. You know, his mind is not for rent to any god or government. That's definitely somewhat anarchistic. Anyway, the music instantly starts off with this synthy, you know, as soon as that starts, you know it's Tom Sawyer, you know it's Moving Pictures. And then again, the opening line, then the music comes in. It's one of those songs that has just been talked about so many times that there's not really much you can say about it that hasn't already been said. It's definitely a song that goes in different directions. It goes all over the place. Like I said, half of it's in 7/8. The keyboard solo's in 7/8. It goes do 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 do. That's in 7/8. The lyrics are brilliant. It's got a cool outro again, playing the wee keyboard solo. The keyboard solo is totally addictive. I learned it years and years ago. I can play it. It's not too difficult, obviously. It's not like the most difficult keyboard solo. It's pretty much playing the same thing over and over again. But it was one of the first keyboard solos that I ever heard that made me think, right, I really, really want to learn that. It's brilliant. And the guitar solo. One of the weakest parts of the song is probably the guitar solo. It doesn't have a fantastic guitar solo. It's a good guitar solo, just not great. The drumming is tremendous, and the bass is so much of Rush is rhythm driven. So much of their music is rhythm driven, because because of Geddy Lee and Alex and Neil Peart's such strong rhythm section that Alex Lifeson sort of left on his own at times to sort of carry the melody. But that is what Rush are, and that's their sound, and that's what totally works. And it's the synth and the keyboards that sort of complements the guitar, and that happens throughout a lot of Rush's music, and it's definitely shown up here. It is a single. You could call it a progressive pop song, I guess. Progressive pop. I call it prog rock. It's not a pop song to me. Progressive pop is like Sledgehammer by Peter Gabriel or Salisbury Hill. This is very much a progressive rock song to me. It's just short, you know, like From the Beginning by ELP. It's still a prog rock song. It's not a pop song, you know. Just because it's a single, just because it's short, doesn't make it prog rock. It's very complex, and they've packed loads and loads and loads of music into it. So, and it's strange because it's actually Geddy Lee's least favourite song on the album, and it's the Rush's biggest hit ever. So, yeah. The second song, Red Barchetta, or Barchetta, I think it's Barchetta, is a song about a guy who drives a car, and I think cars have been outlawed in this society, and he breaks the rules by driving his car, and he feels the freedom of the engine and the freedom of driving down the motorway, and it just paints a bit good picture, and that's sort of the point of the album. Rush have only released one concept album, and that's Clockwork Angels. Though that's disputed, everybody says 2112 is a concept album, and I really don't get that. I don't see how a 20-minute song that has a concept, and then a second side with like 5 short ones that have pretty much nothing to do with that. I don't see how that's a concept album. And again, Hemispheres as well. Everybody says Hemispheres is a concept album. I really don't know what a song about the Greek gods fighting over the human soul has to do with a 9.5-minute instrumental based on a nightmare that Alex had. So that's, people just clearly don't know what concept album means. But one thing about Rush is that almost every Rush album does have a loose theme. For example, Roll the Bones has a loose theme of luck and chance. Well, Moving Pictures definitely has a loose theme of sort of painting a picture in your head, entertainment, things like movies, books, art, culture. That sort of seems to be the theme. We'll say if it's a loose concept, then we'll call it a theme. That seems to be the theme of Moving Pictures. Red Barchetta. I really like the harmonics, especially at the end. One of the things that I prefer about the live version is that the wee harmonics that start, you get to really hear it when they play it live, but it fades out. When you listen to the studio version, it fades out a little bit too quick for my liking. The lyrics are great. It's got a real great feel to it in terms of uplifting. It's a very uplifting song. Geddy Lee sings it brilliantly. Again, it changes direction. It goes and again, that the changes in the music paint the picture in your head. This is why it's Rush's best album, because it does what Rush do better than any other album. Rush have this thing that they do, and Moving Pictures does it the best, in my opinion. The next track is YYZ, which is 4.5 minutes, a 4.5 minute instrumental, and the beat that you hear throughout the album is the ding 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 the ding 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 the ding. That is the Morse code for the Toronto airport or something like that. And it's pretty clever that they've actually based the time signature on that. I haven't quite counted what time signature it's in, but again, that's very progressive. Making a time signature out of Morse code. Very progressive. And it is sort of Rush just showing off, but it's a fantastic instrumental there. They really show their skill here, and it's one of those Rush songs where you can't really take it in one listen. You need to listen to it at least 3 times, because if you listen to it one time and just focus on the guitar, then you'll enjoy the guitar. If you listen to it the next time and just focus on the drums, you'll enjoy the drums. And then if you listen to it another time and focus on the bass, you'll enjoy the bass. It's one of those songs where all three instruments, all three band members are just so tight and going and working so well, and just playing such brilliant music that you focus on the drums for a little bit and you go, oh, the drums are amazing there, but then you hear a bit of bass going and you go, oh, the bass. You can't really take it all in. It's so good that you can't really take it all in. Every instrument is just going 10 out of 10, that you need to listen to it a few times, focusing on different things to really absorb it. But really, this is an example of a band that's a trio or only got a few members, really showing how tight they can be as a trio. ELP are another example of that. It does seem to be that the more members in a band, not every time, but if you get a band that only has about 3 members, the sound seems to be so tight because, you know, too many cooks spoil the broth sort of thing. So you've got ELP and Rush are two of the most famous prog trios, and their music is so tight and so it just works so well, and you can hear YYZ just how much the three guys just connected creatively, and how they just totally bounced off each other, and how they're perfect to be with each other. Those three guys making this music, it's just, you hear it, you just hear them working so well together in the music. Limelight is track 4, which is the other single along with Tom Sawyer from the album. Another pop song that's in like 7/4. Yeah, 7/4. Very pop. Again, I'll say this. I will talk about other bands when I do things like this. Time signatures do not, complex time signatures do not progressive rock make. Just because you're doing a complex time signature doesn't mean it's progressive. I'm talking to you, Dream Theater. But Limelight is definitely a progressive song. It has a fantastic guitar solo, very beautiful, very emotional, and I love the lyrics. It was about Neil Peart, sort of saying fame isn't all it's cracked up to be. You lose yourself. You don't really have time for yourself. And the line that goes, "I can't pretend the stranger is a long awaited friend," something like that. It's sort of like all these people that he meets every day, you're sort of forced to put on a bit of a mask. Like if you're not in a good mood, that doesn't really matter. You need to do this, you need to do that, to sort of please people. And Peter Hamill has done, from Van der Graaf, he has done similar lyrics. Like, is that like from the recent album Do Not Disturb, Room 1210 is a song about when a musician's on tour and he's in the hotel room. It's the only time he really gets to himself, and it's a wee bit similar. That's what Limelight's about. Beautiful song, great drumming, great end to the first side. So again, you've got 4 songs on this first side that are just perfect. But then side 2 starts, and the underrated masterpiece, the 11-minute The Camera Eye, to me more specific, 10 minutes and 58 seconds. This is my all-time favourite Rush song. But it is so underrated. Nobody agrees with me on that. Most people will say 2112, the track, if they're talking about a long one, or maybe La Via Strangiato, or Xanadu, or maybe Natural Science. But my personal favourite Rush song ever is The Camera Eye. It's got the synthy opening, it's got that sort of electronic feel to it. You've got wee bits of guitar, you've got the drums sort of going, and then it proper kicks in, goes do 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 do, bam, and then you've got this wow of like electronic noise going across, and it just creates this vibe that is sort of similar to Tom Sawyer with that sort of electronic thing, but this just cranks it up to 11. It's so good. And then it's got the time signatures. I think the verses alternate between 6/8 and 5/8. and then you've got two other bars of 6/8, like 1 2 3 4 5 6, 1 2 3 4 5, 1 2 3 4 5 6, 1 2 3 4 5 6, like that. The lyrics are so good, even though he would definitely at Rush tend to talk about things that are more natural. You're talking about the cities and how talking about cities, New York and London, and how the energy and people with purpose and the history of the places create a great vibe. Though there may be some criticism, I'm not 100% sure what every single line's about. But that doesn't really matter. I mean, I love it so much because every single part of this song is so good and exactly the way it should be. It's in two parts. It's not overly long. It's not overly complex either. But at the end of the song, when you get Alex Lifeson's fantastic guitar solo going, and that's another example. What I talked about with YYZ, when you can't just focus on one instrument at a time. Because if you the guitar solo, I think it was about 9.5 minutes into the song, it's near the end. You get the guitar solo, and you're sort of inclined to listen to the guitar solo and focus on it because that's what's going on. And it took me until the 10th time I listened to it to really focus on the bass line that's going on in the background. And the bass line is fantastic. It's really, really fast as well, especially towards the end of the bars in the middle when it goes do 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 like that. So good. And the drums are fantastic as well. It's like YYZ when you can't take it all in at the once. It's at one time. It's impossible. And then the fantastic ending with it sort of reminds me of when the wind blows. The way it just sort of fades out, and you just sort of need to absorb it for a few minutes. It's like that. But you don't have time to absorb it because track 6 has started, Witch Hunt, which is another underrated Rush song. I think very underrated. First thing I'm going to talk about is the lyrics. The lyrics are beautiful. The lyrics are about being afraid of things we don't understand, and it talks about immigrants, art that we don't understand, things like that. And it's very, for 1981, it's basically a song that's anti-racism, anti-homophobia, things like that. That goes to show that, yeah, Neil Peart at the time may have been an objectivist. Well, I know he was an objectivist around about 2112 Hemispheres time. I don't know if he was still an objectivist at this time, because I know for a fact that by 1991 he was definitely no longer an objectivist anymore. So I think this is round about this time he's maybe moving away from it. I'm not 100% sure, but it's an anti-racist song. It's an anti-hatred song, and the lyrics are brilliant from start to finish. And it sort of uses the metaphor of a witch hunt, sort of burning people at the stake, thinking they're a witch, and witches don't exist. So, well, that's what I believe that, and also Neil Peart believes that magic doesn't exist. That's what he believes. But the best part of the song in terms of the lyrics is at the end of the song when he says, "Quick to judge, quick to anger, slow to understand, ignorance and prejudice and fear walk hand in hand." Fantastic. And the music, it's got this eerie, simplistic but very eerie keyboard, and then the guitar is good. Good bass line as well. There's sort of a sort of bass line going on throughout it. Very powerful song. Again, very for optimistic ending. And that leads to the final song, Vital Signs, which I'd probably say is my least favourite song on the album. And a lot of people say it's the best one. I personally disagree with that. It is a good song. I do like the lyrics. I just think it's the worst one on the album, in my opinion. I tend to listen to the album in a different order. I don't tend to listen to Vital Signs first, last. I might listen to it near the middle of the album. It's sort of a strange one. I don't like the way it ends either. It sort of fades out. And you feel like you want there to be at least one more song, It's one of those sort of songs where the album's over and you think, wait, there should be at least one more song after that one, Again, good lyrics. There's just no brilliant bass lines in it. There's no brilliant guitar work. Even the drumming isn't as good as throughout the rest of the album, I think. Good lyrics though. And I think the song's about non-conformity, and very much a fan of that. So no problem with the lyrics. It's got a moody vibe to it that, though Witch Hunt's moody as well. Witch Hunt's moody but sad at the same time, while Vital Signs is more just moody, and I'm not too big of a fan of that. I like sort of sad and emotional, or sad, like Iron Maiden, When the Wind Blows is very much a sad song. I like songs that can be moody and sad at the same time, but just moody on its own, I'm not quite much of a fan of. But all around, Moving Pictures is a 10 out of 10 album. It's fantastic from start to finish. 7 songs on it. All of them are brilliant. It's just amazing. It's just an amazing album. 1981, easily Rush's best album, even though they've got loads and loads of good ones, and I'll definitely review them again at some point. I know this video is 20 minutes, and my last one was 20 minutes. I will try and make them shorter. I don't want to make all my videos this long. I spend a wee bit too long talking about stuff. But, yeah, that is Moving Pictures by Rush, my 3rd album review, and again, don't know what I'm going to do next. I might make a top 10. I might start making top 10s. I've actually got an idea for a top. I don't know if I'll do it in any particular order, but I've got 10 overrated prog albums and a 10 underrated prog albums, and I've actually already got the lists written out. I'll do them at some point, so that'll be fun. But until then, see what happens. Thanks for watching. This has been Moving Pictures by Rush.